All right, folks, we are back. It is your boy Godspeed, and we are here to talk about Bleach: Rebirth of Souls once again. It's finally out, and I haven't really spent as much time as I'd like to playing the game, but I feel like I've given enough of my time to it to give you guys sort of a rough breakdown here on what's going on. So, I'm going to talk about what works, what doesn't, and where this game stands among other anime fighters. So if you're new here, I do have other Bleach content that I want to talk about, but first we need to deal with this, so let's get into it. There's a lot more going on in this game than your average anime fighter. If you play the Storm games, you know that they feel a bit one-sided at times, but Rebirth of Souls forces you to think more. It has an interesting rock, paper, scissors combat system that rewards strategy over button mashing. You've got quick attacks, heavy or flash attacks, breakers, and signature moves. Heavy attacks beat breakers, breakers are unblockable, guarding stops quick and flash attacks. And that's sort of the rock, paper, scissors effect you got going on. Then there's this really cool spiritual power meter, another thing you gotta manage, reverse actions that act as basically combo breakers and sometimes buffs. And you got these awakenings too that enhance your abilities, and I think those are really dope. It's a resource management game as much as it is an anime fighter. Matches feel less one-sided, like I said, than other recent anime games, and when you're fighting at a decent level with a couple people that actually know what they're doing, the combat can feel really cool and show off that technicality that they try to implement into the game, and that's rewarding for me. Now, the game also nails its presentation, in my opinion anyways. The UI looks great, the soundtrack is completely original, and it is immaculate. The voice actors really gave it their all, and I respect that greatly. The story mode takes you from the Substitute Soul Reaper arc all the way through to the Arankar arc's conclusion against your boy Aizen Sosuke. And while it has its flaws, it is at least covering some of the major Bleach sections that everybody can appreciate, and if you haven't gotten into the series yet, at least you may have heard of them, may or may not. Now, the character select screen to me also is something that stood out. It is extremely stylish, and we've got this really sleek but defined 32 character roster, and I think it's pretty solid for a first entry. Now let's talk about the bad. First off, the movement is a little bit weird. You move forward with up on the analog stick instead of just that omnidirectional sort of free that free analog movement, which can feel unnatural at first, but you get used to it. The game's terminology is also an interesting mix of common or straight up made up Japanese words and the actual terms that exist within the Bleach universe. Well, again, makes it interesting, but you get used to it. Let's jump back to the story mode real quick. It is still a classic Bandai release with some really pretty cutscenes, and then you got the slideshows too, and some blue lock stuff. And it's got this really awkward pacing sometimes where the characters just sort of stand around, and the timing of the voice lines and stuff like that is just really dragged out, but I digress. There's a lot of dead air between the scenes, like I was saying, and the hollow enemies are one of the biggest disappointments for me because they feel like the generic big monster battles, and they don't show off any of the the actual mechanics of the game. It's just a hack and slash mash fest until you get a forced moment to do Keycone moves basically. And then we got the biggest issue, the launch. If you're on PC, this game was basically unplayable for the first couple days, and some people it still is, and I can vouch for that because I'm on PC myself. It's got these random long queue times for the online matches. The matchmaking in itself has issues where most people can only find matches with completely unrestricted settings, and no clear ranked mode or leaderboard has been announced yet, and it did not come out, of course, with the release of the game. So I did see the leaks about data miners had found some files in some old directory stuff, but we don't have any clear connotation on whether that's going to be implemented or not. Now, like I said, half of the PC community couldn't even run the game properly without switching their region settings or running the game in administrative mode. Again, that sucks because it should be able to just run as it is. Bandai's communication has been relatively non-existent, with a few people on Twitter kind of running damage control for them and trying to intake all of the issues and getting the specs so that they can get more patches out for people. But again, super weird stuff. So for me, it kind of sucks because I feel like they let the game get review bombed, especially on Steam with its current mixed review positioning, and they haven't really addressed much of the major concerns. But we'll see what happens, and I'd like to be optimistic that they're going to make some changes. So here are my final thoughts. Where does Bleach Rebirth of Souls stand? Mechanically, it's one of the more interesting anime fighters in the last several years, with deep combat, a strong identity, and a ton of love for the source material. But the terrible PC launch, matchmaking problems, and lack of communication have really hurt what should have been a huge moment for Bleach and anime fans worldwide. So if you're on console, specifically PlayStation, and you just want to have fun, it's a great time. If you're on PC, just take it with a grain of salt, but you might want to wait for some patches as well. It's up to you. So that's my breakdown. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you've played the game, how you feel about it, did you refund? I just want to hear everybody's opinions. And if you enjoyed this video, I do have plenty more Bleach stuff in the works, so be sure to check out my other videos, drop a subscribe, and share the video. It is your boy Godspeed, and I am out.